Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. A couple of videos ago I got a comment from someone suggesting or wanting to see a type of video of me or my tips, or I don't know what to call it, but my tips on the best apps for organizing book ideas. And I need to add that if you in the future, or if you do have any suggestions or videos that you want to see from me, please comment in the comment section below or under any of my videos. You're free to suggest videos and let me know what you want to see from me in the future. I think a lot of writers can agree on that when we get a new book idea, it doesn't just all come at once. So that may be the case for some writers, but it is not the case for me. I get ideas for the book in different waves. 3 ideas may come one day and then they just roll in after that, and I need a great way to organize my ideas, and there are different stages to this. I think there is the beginning stages when it is just a plot bunny, and if you don't know, plot bunnies are like when you get only a theme or only a character or only a book idea, a plot idea, but it is still so small that you can't really work on it, so you just write it down to remember it, essentially. First thing I do, and my best tip for organizing those ideas, is very simple, but it is the Notes app on the phone. So the Notes app on your phone, me personally, I have the iPhone, so I use the iPhone Notes app. It is not the greatest, but it is really quick if you just need to, if you're sitting on the bus for example and you're not home and you don't have access to the computer or you don't have access to a notebook, then the phone is something that I always bring with me, so it's really easy to just grab that and just write down the brainstorming ideas that you were getting at the moment so that you don't forget them. The pros are essentially that it is great on the moment. Whatever you're doing, you have probably always access to a phone or a friend's phone. Great for when you're traveling. I think I need to... yeah. Pros is exactly what I just said, but cons is that it is not a great place for organizing. And this was a part of the video idea and video suggestion, how to organize your ideas. And if you just want a place to start, if you don't want to go on heavy with the organizing apps like Notion, I'm gonna talk about Notion in a little bit, just writing down your ideas on your phone is a great way, but it is difficult to organize. I myself have one document on the Notes app where I write down all my ideas. I specifically have to write what kind of idea it is. So for example, if that idea was that plot bunny was to Project Full Moon, I needed to write Project Full Moon because otherwise I would not have remembered what book it was for. Organizing, not that great, but brainstorming, it is a great app. And then a little bit of an old school tip of the same kind of stage in the process, that those plot bunnies, when those come, a notebook and a pencil. But it works differently for different people. I don't carry a notebook with me all the time, but if you do, the notebook is great. And then I have Notion on here, and you can use Notion on many different levels of outlining or organizing your ideas. Outlining, if you don't know, it's where you plot and organize all the things happening in your book. So you plan out plot beats of the story structure and you go along from the beginning to end and outline and plan your book. And Notion can be accessed, I need to say, as an app on the phone, a website on the computer, or an app on the computer, so it can be accessed on multiple different devices, so that's great. But I use Notion mainly as a bank of all my book ideas. If I have random notes in my phone, I then transfer them into Notion. I have a video on when I use Notion and how I set up my Notion, so I can link that in one of these corners and also in the description below if you want to watch that. There are definitely greater tutorials than mine. That was not a tutorial, it was me trying to understand Notion. But you can do so many different things in Notion, and that is one of the pros. You can do not only writing down plot bunnies or ideas, you can really outline in Notion and do everything in Notion. You can structure out your day, you can have everything in there. So the pros is you can do whatever you want, how much you want or how little you want. Like, I don't use Notion to its full extent, but you can do that if you want to. But the cons is that it has a bigger learning curve than just writing down notes on your phone or writing down notes on a piece of paper, and it takes longer to learn how to use it and utilize all its different abilities, or you know what I mean. Notion can definitely scare you off from using it because it is so big and feels a bit overwhelming. But if you start like me, for example, and just do the bare minimum and try to learn the bare minimum, I think it can be great. And then further along in the process, my thing here is that I use Scrivener, and Scrivener is great for drafting. It is great for outlining, because in Scrivener you open a new document or a new file in Scrivener, and in that file you have all the documents that you need. So you can just, with one click in the file, you can switch from chapter 1 to chapter 2. You don't have to scroll anything. It is all in there. And I have a video on Scrivener and how I set up my Scrivener. So if you want to watch that, I can link that in one of these corners and also in the description. And Scrivener is definitely for the plotter, I think. Because if you're a pantser and don't like to outline or plan anything, and you're okay with just not having things organized, then Scrivener can be a bit expensive and not very usable for you. But if you're like me, an outliner and a plotter, and you want to plan out your books and you want to have things organized and have access to every document all at once, with just one click you can check the character information and then go back into the document and start writing again, then Scrivener is a great tool. But Scrivener's main pro is that you can access everything at once and you can organize things however you want. And it is great for just organizing your ideas, but mainly on a book level. If you want a place where you can just put all of your book ideas, then Notion is a great example for that. But if you want a place to put one book, or you can have many files on Scrivener, but if you want a place to delve deep into that one book idea and you want to grow that book idea into a book, then Scrivener is great. But the cons is that it is quite expensive. I think it's a one-time buy, or I did a one-time buy. There may be an option to do like a monthly subscription thing. I'm not sure. You definitely need to check out the Scrivener website. I can link that in the description below for you if you want to check that out. So it costs money, but if you know that you want to be writing consistently and you know that you will use it, then I think it's a great investment. So in the same stage in the process, so when you are writing that one book idea and you want to organize everything with that book idea, if you don't want to pay for Scrivener, then Google Docs is a great way to organize. It is not as great, in my opinion, as Scrivener, because it is so many more steps and you have to try to cheat the system and make your own kind of organizing system, because otherwise you sit there with so many folders and so many separate documents. This is a small thing, and most of you probably don't care about this, but I do. I don't have that much patience, and so the loading screen and loading every single document whenever I need them is time consuming, and when I just need to check something really quick, it then takes me maybe a minute to check it, when it would have taken me 15 seconds in Scrivener. But it is still an inexpensive way to organize your ideas when you are writing that book idea. You can probably do this in many different ways, but I have come up or thought about 2 ways of doing this in Google Docs. So the first way is one document with links to other documents. So essentially you make many documents like you would have if you would go back to the Google Drive menu and you would have chosen like a new document and, you know, the loading screen. But with the links in the document, it is so much easier and it goes quite a lot faster to access the documents that you want. So if you have, for example, a document with an outlining, you can put down titles as characters or plot or mystery, whatever you want. And under that title, you can put a link to that specific document. So if you have a character title, you can put down all the links that you have for each of the characters in your book. If you click on that link, it goes on to a new document and the character that you want to check on. So the loading screen is still there. You have to load on to the new page, but you don't have to like go back to Google Drive, and you don't have to search for the document in the folders, and it's a much more easier way to do it. So then you still have the feeling of different documents, but in the second way of doing this, I have here one big document. So for example, an outlining document, but you have a big table of contents. So one big document, but in the very top you have table of contents, so for characters, world building, plot, whatever you want. And then you can click on the title in the table of contents and it will go directly down to that page in your document. It's still like you have to go up and you have to click through, but in that case you have everything in one document and it's still kind of organized because you have the table of contents. You can easily find different things than just searching for words or searching through the document and scrolling through. So the pros with Google Docs is that it is free and it is very easy to understand. It is quite simple. There's not many customizable things you can do in Google Docs. It is a very simple writing platform. But the cons is that it can feel cluttered. If you are, for example, a minimalist and you like that sort of setup in your life or on your computer, it can feel cluttered with all the documents or just one document with everything. It can feel cluttered. If you feel cluttered, then I would suggest having one document with the links to other documents, because in that case it is cluttered on the Google Drive page, but it isn't cluttered in the document. But that's the cons that I was finding with Google Docs, and then as well the loading screen. That's what I have to say about Google Docs. And then I have just one last thing to talk about, and it is about tracking your word count or tracking your process of writing. So for example, if you have done NaNoWriMo before, in the NaNoWriMo website, I can't speak today. In the NaNoWriMo website, you can track your process throughout the month of November. In that, you can write down your process and it will update you on how much percentage you have done towards your goal. If you want an app like that to track your writing, and not like me, old school, writing down how many words I write every day in my planner, then Pacemaker is a great source to use. I don't use Pacemaker myself, but I have many friends here on authortube that uses Pacemaker, and I've seen it on their vlogs and they seem to really enjoy it, but I can't really talk that much about Pacemaker. But it is similar to the NaNoWriMo website, where you can put down or write your goal, like how many words you would like to write in the book or in the project, and then you can write down every day how many words you have written that day, and it will probably show a kind of curve and show you if you're on track to reaching your goal in time. I don't really know if it's a time thing, like if you can put down I want to be done at this date. So Pacemaker can be great for tracking, like I said. But the cons is that I found the Nano website making my writing seem like a chore. Like I needed to write a word count a day. It wasn't fun having to reach that goal every single day. So if you don't like the NaNoWriMo website, maybe Pacemaker is not for you, but I know Pacemaker is a lot different still. There's no goal of having to write 1,600 words a day like it was for Nano, but it can still feel like a chore to go in there every day and write down the words that you have written and having to see if you're on track or not. You have to really assess this yourself. Does this work for me? If not, if it stresses me out, then don't use it. Just to summarize the video, if you want an app or a website to use for just writing down quick ideas and at those very early stages of a project or writing journey, the Notes on the Phone is a great app. A notebook or Notion if you want to step it up a bit and do some more organizing. And then for the organizing in the project, in that specific book that you want to write, Scrivener is great. Google Docs is way cheaper, it's free. It's a free option, but it is a little bit cluttered. But if that's okay with you, then Google Docs is a great way. I started with Google Docs and I still use Google Docs for school every day, so it works. And then for tracking the work you do, Pacemaker, or old school as well, just writing down every day in your planner or calendar or whatever you use. So that was all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that the person that commented on my video a while back got some value out of this video and that I helped you. Leave a like and a comment below and let me know if you use any of this and if you have any more tips to share with everyone watching this. And subscribe, because I post a new video every week, every Thursday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!